Hi, I'm Mauricio Schiller and you're listening to the Schulering Hup, a podcast gathering hospitality professionals from around the world to talk about what hospitality is and what it isn't, and their lives, the innovations, and the ideas that set some businesses apart and others not. We also talk about the future, the trends, and recently we embarked on a journey to search for happiness in hospitality. What makes hospitality a happy place? What are the hurdles that block happiness from happening? And what can we do to overcome them? I invite you to be part of this journey. Comment and send us a message of how our conversation impacts your day. Ask me a question or tell me a guest you'd like to listen to.
Need to listen before you talk. This a hotel that's been around for many years now, so there were a lot of executives that have been working there before. So I listened to them. I was careful enough to understand what their aspirations were, where they were coming from, why they liked to work in this hotel so much.
This is Eduardo Alcalde, the general manager of Taffer Hotels and Resorts, with an impressive curriculum leading large all-inclusive resorts around the world.
He really became a citizen of the world attending Wash in Switzerland.
We spoke about how his training at Le Roche opened his horizon about cultures in the world and discussed leadership skills, how to act in moments of crisis, and how to motivate multicultural teams and the new generation. Before that though, Nadia and I discussed creativity and innovations to promote happiness in the workspace in our quest for happiness in hospitality. I hope you enjoy. Welcome back to the Schulering Hub, everybody. That's Mauricio Schiller, your host with the weird accent speaking. And I have Nadia Tien with me once again. Nadia, welcome.
Nice to be here, Mauricio. Thanks.
Nadia, we've been going in this crazy journey in the quest of happiness in hospitality. There are many things that make hospitality a happy place. There are many things that make hospitality a not so happy place. And today we are discussing a little bit on innovation and creativity in hospitality, something that sometimes hospitality is not very well known for. In spite of that, it seems that we are switching the key now and changing things. What's your view on innovation and creativity in hospitality?
If you talk about innovation, a lot of people think about technology, but I think innovation can be in many different layers and many different ways. And I can only tell you what happened in my life. You know, when I was given the keys to a building to be, opened by me, I was a general manager for the first time in my life. I had a big hard think about, shall I just copy all the same things that everybody else is doing? Same check-in, same check-out, same breakfast, same everything. Yeah, because that's the most easy way. And I decided not to. Yeah, so the very first hotel that I opened up, I think not on a technological level I innovated. I love that as well. But I innovated on a human level. I innovated on a level of comfort, because at the end, the innovation that I tried at the time was completely geared towards spoiling people rotten that stay with me. And it started with the beds. Yeah, so I got one of the most expensive beds that you can buy. I did a cooperation with Heston's Beds, naturally made, handmade beds. Even the King of Sweden sleeps in it. And there was nobody on the market that did that. And people, they stayed with me and they slept like babies. But what happened then, they wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, they miss breakfast. So I decided to do 24 hours a day breakfast.
24 hours a day breakfast.
Hours a day breakfast, yeah. Whenever you wake up, because you come to me to sleep, you sleep in the best beds you can buy, and we did 24 hours a day breakfast, yeah, because it was something that, why not? I had an open kitchen anyways, and I had to adjust, the kinds of breakfast, but scrambled eggs at 10 o'clock in the morning or scrambled eggs at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A cook can make both. It's not rocket science. But I also, is it innovative, Maurizio, that I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I pressed 30 liters of fresh orange juice, served it myself to the clients, because when you drink orange juice, you might as well drink very good orange juice. And I think the innovation of that is that if you do that for a year, at a certain moment, your ratings in your hotel on TripAdvisor, on Booking.com, people loved it and they wrote about it. So instead of spending a lot of money on marketing and external companies trying to promote me, I did promotion through the bellies of the people, and it worked really well.
Okay, for you to be able to do all these things, you need to have an extra layer of confidence, right? An extra layer of freedom. How do you get the level of freedom and confidence with the hotel owners, for example, to be able to create such innovative services and offers?
I'm a very lucky man, Maurizio, because I never applied for a job in my life. I was always asked, hey, we want you, come and work for me. And the first hotel that I opened up as a GM, that was literally a building without a concept. So we started to think like a year or 2 years before the opening, what will the concept be? And then I came with lots of ideas. And what the owner did very well at the time, he let me be. Because if you put me in a box, it did not work. And I get very excited if I can do things, to make people happy. And, in that hotel, for example, the announcement of the staff was a color advertisement in a newspaper. Again, it's many years ago. Where I said, want to have some fun? That was the headline. You want to have some fun? Come and join me, Nadja. Not Mr. Chen, not whatever. We worked together with Heston's. We had Diesel as the clothing company. So everybody was wearing jeans and nice dresses and accessories. And so all those things made a completely different atmosphere in the hotel. And the confidence came that the owner did not, put me in a box. They let me be. And I think 4 months after we opened that hotel, it was the best rated hotel in the whole Czech Republic. It was on Condé Nast Traveler, one of the coolest hotels in Europe even. So it's cool.
Now that you're speaking, and we're talking about of course, innovation, but we're talking about a lot of creativity from your side as well, right? So I was reading or watching a show the other day. I'm not sure. And they were talking about creativity and how creativity is not linked to intelligence. They measured, they tested, and they realized that very creative people and non-creative people had basically the same IQ, right? So it's not intelligence. And what they found out was that creativity is a way of mindset of how you see challenges. So basically, people that are considered creative, they see challenges as a game. They play, they have fun. And now you just said the words, come and have fun with me, right? Does this creativity and innovation in the hotel actually flood to the staff? Do they come up with innovative ideas and creativity on their own as well? Or it was more concentrated than on your ideas?
No, this has always been a collaboration, Maurizio. I am not able to sit by myself in a room and be creative. I need the interaction with people. And you're right, it always comes from problems. The fact that I did not like that people wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon completely happy because they slept like princes and princesses. The problem was, okay, what do we do with breakfast? Shall we just not serve it and just take the money? No. We give them the breakfast in whatever shape or form. So, and it's actually funny that you say that, because I did not see that episode what you watched, but I love puzzles, Maurizio. Puzzles is solving problems, so it's actually interesting how that puzzle falls together.
Indeed. And if we come to to today, hospitality is going through the technological innovation. However, you need to still be creative to use the technology wisely, right? You only having technology, it's not enough. It helps, but it's not enough. What you see is all these surge of technology coming and this new type of service it's unlocking new types of hospitality indeed, right? No from desk and all types of automation. How do you see us moving on that realm right now?
Well, as you know, Maurizio, I love technology as well. So I think I've been quite innovative. You know, I was the third hotel in the world to work together with Muse because I believed in their vision of what they see as the future of hospitality. And if you now look 12 years later, which is right now, I don't know what will happen 12 years from now, but right now they use technology to get completely different revenue streams. Yeah, in the past, you put property management system in a hotel, you have a room, you check the room in or out. Nowadays, technology allows you already to not only sell the room, you can sell a table in your restaurant, you can sell a co-working space, you can sell the parking, you can even sell your room per hour, instead of selling it during a day. So it gives I think the current hoteliers a completely different possibility of what to do with the space that you have. And average daily rate versus revenue per square meter or revenue per hour, those are completely different measurements right now as well.
So basically, it's how creative and how playful managers are will actually say how can you use the technology to improve their revenue streams. Would you agree with that statement?
I totally agree with that. Yeah. One of the most difficult things, Maurizio, is changing mindsets. You know, when I said earlier, the hospitality industry has been a dinosaur for many, many years. But now there is an opportunity to actually go on and above, other industries with the technology that is currently flowing into the hospitality industry. But to change people's minds and to change owners' minds that there's different ways of doing things when you're so stuck in your habits, that is a nice challenge. And I am very lucky, Maurizio, that I worked with many great people that wanted to invest in hotels and they let me be. So
the message I probably that we're closing here, I would leave here for hospitality operators is invest in innovation training and creativity training for your leaders so they can use the technology that's available now in the behalf of the company and helping their teams to become more creative as well, become more innovative as well, and use the technology that's now allowing them to create multiple sources of revenue in the best way possible for the guest. Sorry to interrupt. If you're enjoying this show and if you are learning something new today, please consider following the show, subscribe to our channel, or leave us a review. It helps us to help more people through the podcast, and it would mean the world to us. Thank you for listening, and we're back on the chat.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, one of the cool things that is happening now, all the bigger hospitality-related companies, they invest in time spent in hotel management schools. Yeah, so if you learn already now in school that there's technology that is changing, then obviously you can use that later on in your career by, completely thinking out of the box. Yeah, if you don't know something, you will never use it. So to have some literacy and some knowledge about what is going on is definitely, we need hospitality creative mentors.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Let's talk to some companies there and put that concept to play. Nadia, thank you very much once again for talking to us here. And
sure.
It's always a pleasure. And Schulering, hang up. There's more to come. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Mauricio Schiller, your host of the Schulering Hub here. And today, we have a special guest, Eduardo Alcalde. He is a GM for Teffer Hotels and Resorts in Cancun, Mexico, but I will read his amazing resume here. And I'm sorry about this, Eduardo, because it's a beautiful resume. You were a GM at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Punta Cana, And the Dominican Republic, you were a GM in the Princess Hotels and Resorts in the Mayan Riviera in Mexico. You were also a corporate director of hotels operations in the Blue Diamond Hotel and Resorts in Toronto, Canada. And a deputy general manager at the Melia Punta Cana, hotel operations manager in the Ceiba del Mar Spine Resort in Riviera, food and beverage manager at Camino Real Resorts in Mexico City, and a regional manager restaurant operations at the Hard Rock Puerto Vallarta y Cabo Lucas. Wow, what a career, Eduardo. How are you?
Thank you, Mauricio. Yeah, it's been a very nice ride so far.
Wow, you have an amazing...
Thank you for this. And thank you for having me also, Mauricio. Thank you for having me in your podcast. I feel honored for you taking the time to interview me. And, all for hospitality. We love hospitality. And I am looking forward to a nice conversation with you.
Eduardo, it's a pleasure to have you here because we connected before recording this show, and I was really impressed with your passion and the way that you see hospitality, but mostly the way that you see the people, that how you treat people. And I know that hospitality people are hospitality people, so it's in our DNA. We love to do that. We love to treat people nicely, but I love your leadership style. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk a lot about leadership. But before, I want to learn a little bit more about you and why did you choose hospitality for your life?
It is an interesting story. I attended the Swiss school in Mexico City from kindergarten till high school. So my life was between traditional Mexican family at home and with the Swiss and European education at school. So I heard a lot of stories about my schoolmates. Some of them were born in Switzerland, also in Germany, and they would go for holidays to their hometowns, come back with, toys and stories. So this experience started building in my head. It's like there is more out there than what I know in my country. And then my eldest brother, had a great influence in me because he's 7 years older than I am. And by the time I was ready to go to university, he has been already traveling the world. He went to the UK to study English. So it came just natural, no? I just wanted to go out and see what was there. And hospitality, my eldest brother also was studying hospitality in Switzerland, or did already study by then. So it was just a perfect fit for me. Go to Switzerland and study hotel management. This is how I got into this business.
So, you then got that inspiration from your brother. You want to see more of the world, and end up going to Le Roche, right? You studied bachelor in hotel management at Le Roche. And how was then studying? What type of school it was for you? How they train you to be ready for the hospitality world back then?
Yes, sir. The program at Le Roche, it's very practical. The first year you do service. They teach you how to serve, and the school has a dining room and has kitchens and has everything. So they taught us how to clean the dishes in the washing machine, how to set up a table. So we had different shifts. There were weeks where we did breakfast service, and then we had some theoretical lessons, and then we also started with food cost. And second year was all full kitchen, and third year was management. And between those years, there is always an in-training or a stage, like in-training period that you have to do related to the year that you're studying. So the first year, I did service at the Basel Hilton at the northern city in Switzerland. I worked in the room service department, and I also did some banquets, events on my spare time to make a little bit more money. In the kitchen, I did two in-training periods. I did one in a very nice resort in the Alps, and another one in the capital city in Bern. And for management, I love the countryside, so I went again to Stad to do my management training, mostly front office. It was a small hotel, 36 rooms, very high-end clientele and stuff. So we were doing everything. I was helping a maitre d' who was the husband of the owner's daughter. So I did minivans. I was doing the best night shifts. I learned a lot. It was very labor intensive and lots of operation. You get in these kind of schools, you get to feel the guest from day one. So yeah, it was nice. And Le Roche changed my life. What I take from Le Roche is being away from your home and being able to see that your schoolmates are not different than you. We all have same stories mostly to tell. We came from similar family backgrounds. Maybe the foods that we ate from different countries was a big differentiator, but then you also see that you are able to perform, to integrate yourself in different cultures, and I really became a citizen of the world attending Bosch in Switzerland.
I love the word citizen of the world. My mom used to call me that when I was really small. And
you've been traveling a lot too.
What is your best memory from the school time?
Wow. Well, I met some very nice people. So many memories. I am still in contact with some of my. I feel so proud to reach the high grades and high marks when I was there as a student. The idea I didn't have much money to spend most of my time in the school. I didn't have money to go there. So I was mostly studying and hanging around in school. Lots of memory. The one that stands out is the feeling of being able to go out and see the world.
To go out and see the world. I love that. I always wish that I would go traveling since I was really young, and took me a long time to actually have the opportunity to leave Brazil. And I remember at school I remember enrolling in an English class, in an English school, only because at the end of the year they would go to Disneyland. And then when it got to the time, I couldn't go, and I was devastated. I wanted to see the world. We have similarities here. And so, Eduardo, from all these amazing places that you worked, all inclusive hotels and resorts, and you had different positions. And what was the most challenging job that you took in your career?
Well, the most challenging job was, in every phase of your life and your professional life, your experiences feel and take differently, because maybe the first time I took over a big responsibility as assistant GM in a resort in Punta Cana, but my kids were younger. So the moment that we were living as a family, a great opportunity tastes different as taking a bigger role as I did when I was running the Hard Rock Hotel in Punta Cana. So answering your question, I would say all of them, you face challenges, and the biggest one was definitely the Hard Rock. It was the biggest hotel I have managed so far, 3,600 employees, 2,000 rooms. And we were in the middle of a big remodeling, big construction, 600 rooms being remodeled at the same time. So that was the challenge, because it was not only managing your executive team and setting the pace of the hotel, but also dealing with construction guys and architects and everything that has to do with building hotels and remodeling hotels. So that was my biggest, I would say, the biggest challenge I've had so far.
Wow, 2,000 rooms, 600 under construction. That is probably a management school on itself, right? What's the biggest lessons you took from this opportunity?
Well, that I am very organized, but this hotel really put my organizational skills to the line. Also, I learned new ways to be more organized. I also learned that you need to listen before you talk. It's a hotel that's been around for many years now, so there were a lot of executives that have been working there before. So I listened to them. I was careful enough to understand what their aspirations were, where they were coming from, why they liked to work in this hotel so much, because they stayed there too long now or long enough. And then you start building from there. So I learned to be more organized. I learned to coach, to be a better coach. I learned to listen. I learned to communicate. My executive team was composed of almost 30 people, and clearly and of a timely manner. Things can go very, very bad. No? And then you also, I learned to set the pace. I learned sometimes to be a little bit tougher with myself and tougher with situations in which you needed to put, a big slap on the table. Being respectful, obviously, no, but you have to set the pace with such a stressful environment. Your executive team should also see you that you know what you're doing, you know what you're saying, but at the same time that you're a human too, that you make mistakes and you will not have all the answers at the end of the day. It was a great experience. Beautiful, beautiful place.
It sounds like you learned a lot about the human experience of leading big teams, but with many layers of leadership, right? Because in such a big hotel, it's not about only your leadership skills, but really getting the whole team together in one spot, right? How did you do that?
And then, let me tell you one thing, and then there are different nationalities involved. You have your head concierge comes from Mexico, and the other one comes from Germany, and most of the executives were from the Dominican Republic with a lot of experience. I was lucky enough that I had worked in the Dominican Republic before joining the Hard Rock, so I know a culture that I love very much, that has taught me so many things. And they are basically part of my success also. But again, how do you do these things? You need to be willing to do a good job and be humble. Sometimes that you don't know everything, showing your human side. It has worked for me in the beginning of my career, and sometimes they tell me that I haven't reached other heights in my profession because I was too honest, too straightforward, and really looking into being a leader so that everyone would benefit. No, I don't like to be the one to be at the front and speaking and talking all the time. No, to own their jobs and make their mistakes. It has worked for me.
And so you got these big properties, these big challenges, managed to learn how to work with big teams. And I'll come back to these cultural challenges as well of having multicultural teams, because I think that's a very interesting thing, but I will get there, because for that, I want to understand how was the pandemic with your side of this, or what's your side of, because we all had that moment of crisis in our life where it seems that our ground disappeared, right? Everything that we trust that would never disappear all of a sudden did. How did it affect you?
At the time pandemic hit, I was running a also big hotel here at the Riviera Maya, the Grand Torino Princess. I was working for them for 4 years, and we were doing great things. We organized organizational culture. I developed a team of certified coaches, and they all helped me to develop all the operational manuals of all departments of the hotel, including accounting, which is not my area, but the controller was open enough to participate in this process. And by the time pandemic hit, we were getting ready to the next step of my plan, because by then we had already done all the things that I told you. And also we did a very nice, I love teaching and learning new things. So I put all my executive team and operations team into this program that took us like 5 weeks to develop with an external company. It was actually longer. It was 2 or 3 months. this was all management, how to be a leader, and all these trends coming along. So when pandemic hit, I felt like everything was disappearing from my hands, and I felt really bad. I was writing checks. We had to let go more than 1,000 people. I was crying for 2 days, and it took me a couple of weeks to recover, because it was very hard. You're never ready for these kind of things. You as a leader, again, there are some crises that you can foresee: a financial crisis, a staff shortage crisis, and then you can prepare a hurricane hitting your area. There are plans for that, and then you can prepare for that. But for pandemia, I just try to be there, to show myself, to be honest, to set the pace of what we were going to do, listen to what the experts were saying, organizations locally and internationally, communicate again properly, listen to your team. There are team members and executives in your team that have this drive to talk to people and calm them down. So delegate to them, lean on them. And sometimes, again, as I told you before, you have to be firm, You have to make decisions that you don't like, that are aligned also with what the owner says, because you're not working just by yourself. It was not my hotel. I also had to follow some instructions too. But what the owners of this company like also. So we never had a problem in getting everything ready. So yeah, the pandemic, it was complicated. I don't think anyone can tell you that was ready for it, and we learned as it developed and as it faded away.
You said something really interesting now, that like you were trying, you were having a hard time to write the checks and have to let people go, but you were coming and showing up and doing the work that had to be done, even if you didn't like it. Like, where did you get the strength to do that?
I think it's the right thing to do. So, we set up some ballrooms in the hotel, and we were lining up our staff, and we were giving them their checks and telling them what was going to happen next. And I was there. Interesting enough, when you build this line of communication with your staff, they have nothing to blame to you. Even though it was an external thing, if you were not doing the right thing before, maybe you would never find the strength or the guts to show your face. So I was walking freely around them and giving them hope and telling them that this will pass, and hoping for the best, and making sure that they were getting the money that the law says they needed to get. So it was just the right thing to do. Just comes out naturally.
When you have integrity, it's just in the moment of crisis, you have the strength, right? I love that.
That's correct.
So, look, coming back a little bit into the leadership, right? Because now you said that, like, you've been working with multicultural teams, then you have this very challenging moments that you had to be yourself, be real, do the right things that you had to do to go through. Then we come out of this challenge, we start rebuilding teams. But to be able to rebuild, to be able to work with multicultural teams, you need certain skills, certain leadership skills that you have developed during your career, during your studies. Which ones do you think that are the most important ones that a leader should really concentrate in developing?
Coming out from a pandemic like the one we recently faced, I believe you need to be an empathetic leader, if the term exists, Because, the pandemic hit you also. It's going back again to being to your human side of leadership, The pandemic hit me. My three daughters, they lost their job. One of them was living in Canada, and two of them were living here in Mexico. They came to my house. It hits you in every way. So you need to be empathetic, able to relate to what has happened, and then understand how your team is reacting towards this crisis. Because some lost more than others. Some had to leave and then came back. I would say answering your question is be empathetic, understand what is happening and why are they still there, what are the inspirations. See, it is very complicated. You need to be there and see that.
Yeah, that 100%. And what I have a very interesting question. It's that I was in a leadership training last Saturday now, and it was about working in multicultural places, right? And the challenge that when you have a new team member and you need to have a process to get this team member to adapt to the environment, to the company, but also to the culture and with the colleagues that normally can be from, 10, 15 different cultures, and they need to work together. And hospitality is full of these challenges, right? Because we work normally in multicultural places and we receive multicultural guests. What type of training, what type of exercises you practice with your teams to develop that skills?
When I was, if we talk about the executive team, not developing a skill, but it's making them aware and knowing where they are coming from. Let me give you a couple of examples. At one time, I had an FME manager coming from Germany. So I interviewed him. He had some experience abroad, not many years, mostly in his home country. So I know I've been there. I studied in Sweden. I know how Europeans think. So one day he came to my office and said, "Listen, Mr. Alcalde, you got to train them. They don't understand. They forget. My friends, we brought you here because you have the experience, you have the qualifications. So if we have to retrain them again every single day, please do it." And then if you have someone coming from Latin America, I had people from Mexico working for me, people from Venezuela, people from Peru. We come from a different background. It's not that we're better, sometimes we're more resilient because we have faced different situations, other cultures, talking about Europe again. So the way is not developing a skill, it's just putting them in the right place, depending on their culture. With some executives from Latin America, the way I would talk to them was more the way I think, and I was trying to give them my experience so that they would behave, and so that they would be up to the standards. Since we were working not in our countries, not in Europe, but we were in the middle of the Caribbean and we were foreigners on top of that. So I need to be respectful. And that's the way I handled it, depending on where each one of these individuals came from. And sometimes when talking about your supervisors and frontline, sometimes you just go with your organizational culture, with your values, with your usual trainings. You just need to be careful how they react, but there you cannot make any distinctions. These are the standards of the hotel. I want you to learn them. And at one point, you want people in certain departments, you want people to think. In others, you just want people to perform. So this needs to be very clear. I hired you to think and I hired you to perform, but I need to tell you exactly what I am expecting from you so that your performance covers all the needs of the hotel goals or hotel targets. It's just a give and take and understanding again where everyone is coming from and it's going to.
It's a flexible game, isn't it? You need to be flexible. You need to be open for the challenge. And up today, things seem to be a little bit different, right? Like the post-pandemic and coming today, a lot of managers are starting to report that the people are coming different. They are not the hospitality people that comes now. It's not the same type of hospitality people we used to work with when I was in an entry level. And motivation may be challenging now, like the motivation to work and why they are coming to work. And what do you see with the new generation of hospitality workers, and what motivates them to come to work?
Well, we have all generations working now together in our workplaces, no? And from what I've seen and from my experience, what they are looking for is that they don't want to be bossed around. They want to be listened. They want someone to listen to them. They are looking for jobs that will give them a immediate satisfaction. Social media does for them. No, they want everything now and fast. Most of them do not want to take more responsibilities. No, I just want to be a waiter. I don't want to be a supervisor, because if I become a supervisor, even though I would make probably more money, you're not getting tips, but you will ask me to stay longer, and I don't want to stay. I just want to do my 8 hours and go home. These are the kind of things that you find. No long hours. They want better salaries. They come and go for they want to stay just for a period of time, and they leave because they're planning to go for holidays with their friends in the summertime, or they're planning to study abroad, and they need money. So what we're doing now, we were talking about this last week with my human resources manager and the director of operations, is that we need to change now the way we hire our staff, no? Because even if you try to keep them longer, you will probably succeed to a certain extent, but it is not necessarily truth. At least this is what we're living here in this area. But you still need the hands, and you still need the people to do the work, and you need to train them. So if they're gonna be with you for 4 months, fine. Be here for 4 months. Let's make an agreement that you be here for 4 months before you go and do your other thing, and then I will teach you, and you will stay in this position. No, we cannot still think that they will stay with us forever, because it is not the case. We will still do the effort. Obviously, we will try to match their values with the company values, and obviously we have some stories of success. People have stayed longer and have decided to stay with us. And then another thing that is happening here in the area, most of the people that left during the pandemic are not coming back because they found other jobs near their homes, or maybe they went back home and they realized that they could live and eat and be happier doing less hours and maybe earning less. So the shortage of staff is here. So you need to be very flexible if you want to, if the standards to be there, and you still want to perform at a very at the high level, or at the level that you said your company to perform. See, there's a lot of things that we need to change now.
Wow, I'm pretty impressed with that strategy, to the understanding that maybe a career path is secondary into when you're hiring, and I believe that you don't have to open that, of course, if you don't feel comfortable, but I probably believe that you're talking even about, like, you need to allocate a bigger budget if you need to be training people every 4 months, every 6 months. So you need to allocate the budget differently to be able to fit that need, because you need the hands, and probably they are coming more for learning, more for an experience, and doing their own things, getting life experiences. And I'll be honest, I'm very jealous of them. They did that. It's pretty brave of them to do that. I took a lot that I shouldn't have during my career. People step on me for a long time, and I shouldn't have, but I thought that I was doing the right thing. And for a lot of us, it was the right thing to do. You know, we grew up in that environment that was the right thing to do. It's not the wrong thing to do. But looking at them today, managing a lot more of this work-life balance, I even get a little bit jealous of, like, wow, why didn't I have that courage to come and maybe change the industry? And we could have had this conversation maybe 10, 15 years ago, right? And now coming on in a lot stronger workplace, I would say.
Yeah, but still, what you experienced or what I experienced, all these experiences, they formed our character, no? They helped us to build our character. And at least, I believe this is also true for you. At least from the beginning, you knew exactly where you wanted to be or where you wanted to go. No? And then life is not a linear, it's not a line. It goes up and down like this. You still have your goal. Then sometimes the strategy changes. No, I think that when you have a structure early on in your career, and you are able to find out what you're looking for, then the better off you will be, not in the next 10 or 15 years, maybe when you turn 50 or 60, no? And in my opinion, it was always for me that way. I don't want to be alone. And I don't want to be, I want to make sure that I have enough money to support myself if I cannot work anymore. That structure it's in our heads, no? And maybe I am wrong. Maybe what the new generations are experiencing is different, and maybe they'll be able to be more agile than me, us to reach that age the proper way or the way they want. But yes, I think that in life, humanity is there are things that will never. Everyone is free to do whatever they want, as long as they don't step on anybody's foot, no?
Yes, that's true. And when it comes to, like, I saw that you are very passionate about learning and about coaching. How can, like, other leaders also, like, develop the team skills and find that way to enjoy, let's say, grooming teams? I believe that normally leaders, they have that inside them, but someone that is inspiring to be a leader, someone who wants to become a leader, what should be them thinking about when it comes to developing skills?
To develop your team? Is that the question that you're asking me?
Yes. Yeah.
I like to do the following exercise. Every time a manager or supervisor comes to me with certain situation, a problem, so to say, I always like to break down their jobs in pieces, and then to each phase of their jobs or the job description, I like to also put some time on it. How long does it take you to do this, and that? No, and if it's a supervisor, then we will do the same. The people that report to him or her. What do they do? But then you break it down again. And then you will soon realize, the third step usually is, once we have this done, does your staff and yourself know exactly what you need to achieve or what you need to do in order to achieve your goal? If the answer is yes, then the next question would be, do you have the equipment needed to perform, to do your job? Usually there is something missing. And if the answer is no, then you need to train them. And when the supervisor realizes by him, herself, that he or her are not doing the job that they are supposed to do, they still realize that what they are asking for has a solution, and the solution is in their hands. Obviously, the equipment and the training, it's part of the management team to deliver, no? So this exercise it's like coaching someone, Mauricio. No, you ask the right question. Instead of asking the right questions, you put the job on the table, and then the person soon realizes that he's asking for too much or he's not performing at the best level. No, and it works both ways, because sometimes I have all this exercise when we have. I remember once we were having a problem with a stewarding team at a big hotel I was managing, and to help the head of stewards there, we did this exercise with him. So we helped with him. So listen, let me help you get organized. Let's break it down. And then what do you do next? And then next. And then you find certain things or tasks that person should be making. It worked very well. And they realize by themselves. And then they stop complaining. They stop telling you. This is a strategy that I like to use a lot in order to align my team and so that they know what is expected from them.
That's super interesting, like to break down the exercise and noticing if they are doing things that they shouldn't, or they are not delegating probably something that they could, or that they are doing a supervisor's job that maybe they are not even prepared for. So like, love that idea. And if we would think about the future of our industry and where we're going now, where do you think that hospitality will be in the next 5-8 years?
Well, we will see a lot more of technology being introduced into our business, and especially in those tasks that repeat themselves, that you don't need to do every day, no? We will see that coming. I still believe that the human touch will still be there, no? At the end of the day, hospitality is about humans, so the front desk, a clerk should be there, a concierge to help you around your restaurant reservation should be there, and so on. We can talk about many other positions in the hotel business. I also believe, and we are seeing the trend already, that we see smaller hotels being built, 400 rooms, 350 rooms, and depending on your location rooms. Even in resorts like where I work now, most of the new hotels are only 400 or 500 rooms. This will give you also, in my opinion, a more controllable way of operating them. And they will be not precisely branded as we know these big brands coming along, but they would be clientele, artists. There is a niche there, and you can adjust your hotel to work with them, no? And maybe you have musicians, as we do about music and entertainment. Then we see all these, some things are not changing. What else? Sales, salespeople, but they do business, especially in the cities, laws, that you still find hotels that target to families and adults only, and they do also sales and groups and promotions. And then you start mixing everything, and it makes it more difficult to operate, considering the staff shortage and considering all the things we've talked about coming to work for us. That's a way. And another thing I'm thinking about is that it would be nice, at least we don't have that in my country, in Mexico, to be able to work for hours or for days, no? And maybe there will come a time in which, like an app of Uber, you would request a Chinese chef to work for you from Thursday till Sunday, from this time to this time, who would write himself up. And then we have 5 people showing up in your app, say, okay, please come. And then for the next week, you have a big function, and I don't know, a Turkish family is getting married, and you need a Turkish chef, and you look for one. That would be, I think that or people working, from Monday till Thursday, I'm attending school, and then I can bartend there for you Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think that flexibility is already placed in some countries. I see it coming stronger, because it will help. It will help a lot, no? That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it's introducing the flexible economy, the share economy into hospitality. I have a question, actually. There's a book that I like from Yuval Harari. He wrote Homo Sapiens, like he's most known from Homo Sapiens, but he wrote another book that's called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. That is about what is coming mainly with AI. And he has a very shocking prediction that he says that the first profession that will be replaced totally by AI is a GP, is the general practice of doctors, because you can have that on your phone. We only do because of confidentiality norms rather than the technology. The technology is ready for it. We cannot share yet. So that's his prediction. Yeah. If we would transfer to hospitality, do you think that there is one spot in hospitality?
I think accounting department, human resources department. Again, repeat tasks, no? You do your sales every day. You do your taxes every day. You do see how many people didn't show up. That can be easily with that it's reproduced in a very proper way, Which other positions I see? Basically those, the administrative positions, I believe, are more in risk than the operations one. Even though they're building robots, machines that make coffee and deliver to the human behind it, for example, the maintenance guys, they will still be needed, but they will, as we all will have to change, learn new skills in order to repair all these machines or all these computers that are coming along. But I don't see that the hospitality business is going to be fully. It's not fully automated. It's just maybe in the future someone will how humans, how we are. Maybe the pendulum will be, and then we will soon realize that getting rid of all humans in the hospitality business was not a good idea because we're getting so many complaints. And we need to bring them back. And I hope it never happens. It could, but I don't see any more positions being replaced as those that again are administrative or are repeated tasks.
I think that a lot of people here will just breathe out like with a relief because there's so much talk sometimes in the lobby about it.
Yeah, see, and not take me wrong, the guys from administration, human resources, they can always learn a new skill because of all the things that they've experienced in the hotel business. So people from administration and human resources that are listening to your podcast, don't take me wrong. I mean, this is a thing that is coming and it's happening, but you can always, if you do it on time, change your skills, learn, be ready for the change.
Learn leadership skills because we need to talk with the humans. In the end of the day, we need to deal with the humans, right? If you would leave a learning bomb here, like something, that very important piece of advice for our leaders or what that would be?
Never give up. We've been this business for many years now. With different colors and faces, and we're facing the same, so to say, being a good leader, to be motivated to do the job, being coaches. It's happening. It's been happening, and it will still be happening in the future. So my advice would be such a beautiful tree that make humans come together, especially in this time of what we're facing in the world. We need to come back and believe that there may be peace and justice everywhere. So hospitality is the best example. And then if you read a lot, I know that you read a lot of books, you probably read already that hospitality is everywhere. To be hospitable, it's not just in a hotel or a restaurant or in a groups or convention in a meeting. No, it's everywhere. You go to a supermarket, where you go with holidays, to a park, to being hospitable means a lot. This is what I think the world needs now. So never give up. We will face them twice and three times, and we will be stronger every time we face them. We will be able to solve them better, but they will still be there. It's just a matter how we want to deal with them and how we never give up.
I'll finish with this message. Never give up. Eduardo, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you. It was a pleasure to talk to you. It was a class of leadership here. I much appreciate your time, much appreciate your experience and your knowledge with us.
The pleasure is all mine, Mauricio. Thank you very much.